everyone, my name is Kirsty the Bursty and welcome to my channel. So you guys might be wondering why I decided to do a Booktube newbie tag a month and a half after starting my channel. So I'll tell ya. I kind of decided it was like a Booktube rites of passage to do your Booktube newbie tag, and I kind of just like skated right over it. So I was like, I should probably do one just to give you guys some like context about my channel, like why I started it, instead of just like jumping in and then expecting you to, come with me. So yeah, I have 10 questions here. They're all about Booktube, why I started my Booktube channel, what got me into reading, and all that jazz. So all right, let's go. Question 1. Why are you starting your Booktube channel? So basically I decided to start this Booktube channel because I really wanted just to be held accountable for my reading, because I know that if I don't have like a goal, or if I'm not talking about the things that I need to do and my goals and my things I want to achieve, I'm just not going to do them because there's no one who's going to force me to do them. Not that anyone watching is going to force me, but I feel like just putting it out there is going to make me just all that more willing and wanting to like go for my goals. So that's basically why. I also really want to meet people and talk to people who are really into the books that I'm into reading, into booking. That's not a thing. So I just want to like talk to more people who are readers and writers and get in with the community, which I think is what everybody says, so maybe that's a canned answer, but it's true, I swear. Question number 2, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to Booktube? So I would say I come from a very critical like writing background. My major in college was creative writing and journalism. I've also held a couple jobs in like the writing industry. I've written for newspapers, I've written for literary magazines. I was a writing consultant for a couple years. So I just feel like having all that under my belt, as they say, I think it just gives me the it just makes it a little bit easier for me to critically talk about the way that things are written. It makes me go to like a deeper place with them, which I think is useful, instead of just me being like, so this book was really good, and yeah. So it just gives me a little bit more, I'm going to have a little bit more like meat when I'm talking about the writing, when I'm talking about the story and the arc and the symbolism and all that jazz, and yeah, I think that's what I can bring to the table here. Question 3, what are you most excited about for your new channel? So I would say what I'm most excited about is just to review books and have people talk to me about them. It's actually nice that I did this tag a little bit after I've done some of these things, so I can say for a fact what excites me and what makes me nervous. Yeah, so I really think that reviewing books, like I think the first book I reviewed was Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, and it was really cool to have people say what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it. Everyone has a different lens on when they're reading and sees something completely different, so it's really, really interesting when you can both talk about it and bring up new things to each other. It's really fun and really exciting. Question 4, why do you love reading? So I love reading because I love stories. I love being told stories, I love adventures, I love being able to look at a cover and just seeing that there's like an adventure in there, there's mystery in there, there's intrigue. It's such a cool experience. Reading is such a cool experience. Question 5, what are some books or series that got you into reading? So I went through like phases of reading in my life. I remember when I was in middle school, it was Lemony Snicket that really got me into reading, the series of unfortunate events. I read all of those, and that's when I got more into like some middle grade stories. Eventually it kind of like petered off, and I didn't read again for a while until I was in high school. And when I was in high school, I did a lot of the required reading, as we all do, and it was all boring and really stiff and uninteresting, until The Catcher in the Rye. So I've talked a little bit about The Catcher in the Rye. I've talked a little bit about other books that got me into reading in my 25 bookish facts about me. I'll link that below, so if you want to hear all the details, all the juicy details. But basically, Catcher in the Rye got me into reading because I loved the voice, I loved Holden, I just loved his journey. The other book that got me into reading, that I promise you guys, I'm not gonna go there, I'm not gonna talk too deep about it, but it's The Phantom of the Opera. It's behind me, like right over here. I'm not gonna talk about it because if you want to hear me talk about it, literally watch any other video I posted so far. I promise there's a Phantom of the Opera like reference in there. somewhere. But basically, I discovered that when I was in high school too. I completely annotated the entire book. Entire book. And then I lent it to a friend, and then she never gave it back. I really wish I had that. The first thing I ever wrote was a Phantom of the Opera fan fiction, and then I kind of just didn't stop writing after that. So totally an inspirational moment in my life was reading the Phantom of the Opera. Question 6. What are some questions that you would ask your favorite booktubers? So I guess I would ask some of my favorite booktubers how they come up with all their content, because they're coming up with like content on like a bi-weekly basis, all these like interesting concepts and things, and I'm just kind of wondering where they draw all their inspiration from. I mean, I have lots of ideas because I'm new, so I have all these things I want to talk about, but how do you keep that going? How do you come up with all these things? Question 7. So what do you think are the hardest things to overcome in your booktube channel? I guess the hardest thing I've come up with so far is just feeling like you're talking to a black hole. I mean, sometimes like, you know, you upload these videos, you put all this time into it, especially when you're super new, like you get like 14 views and no one responds, and it just feels like you're talking to like yourself, which you are. I'm talking to myself right now. But I mean, you just kind of feel like there's no one talking to you and you're talking to a black hole, and I feel like that can get a little discouraging. So I feel like that's the hardest thing right now. And I know if I keep consistent with this and I upload regularly and talk to people, it will become so much better and become so much more of a conversation. But right now I am kind of feeling, you know, you feel like a little like you're just talking to the walls. So, question 8, when did you start reading? So, like I said, I kind of read in phases in my life, but I would say when I started consistently reading was about 3 years ago. That's when I decided that if I was going to write regularly, I needed to read regularly. I needed to know what was out there, I needed to know what was new, I needed to know what people were responding to, what was popular, if I wanted to, you know, write and then someday be published, because that's my ultimate goal. But yes, so that's when I started reading, like maybe a book a month 3 years ago. Last year, I got really into audiobooks, and I was reading like 3 or 4 a month, most of those being audiobooks. Then this year, after a whole year of like, I was putting everything on Goodreads, which I think was super helpful. I just knew that if I was gonna read more, I needed to have like an outlet for that. So that's how this all came about. But yeah, so I consistently started reading 3 years ago, and then every year since then it's gotten more intense. Question 9, where do you read? I read everywhere because of audiobooks. I literally read pretty much from the moment I wake up to when I go to bed. Whenever I'm in the car, I'm always listening to audiobooks. If I'm, you know, doing chores, I'll listen to audiobooks. If I'm just laying in bed, I'll listen to audiobooks. If I'm putting my makeup on, I'm listening to audiobooks. All day, everyday audiobooks. But when I'm reading physical books, I'm usually doing it before I go to bed. I will read physical books, and then, you know, if I'm just like around the house, I'll have a book like near me at all times, and I'll read sporadically, but most consistently at night. Question 10, what books do you like to read? I'm a huge fan of mysteries, thrillers, love anything that's sci-fi. Sci-fi is like my bag, especially I'm kind of obsessed with like parallel universes. So that's why the book I read last year that I just bought on book outlets, the name is fleeing from my mind, 1,000 Pieces of You. Got there. Books like that I really love. I'm also really loving the Shades of Magic series. So I do read like very broadly, but YA contemporary things that's my go-to. That is usually my go-to. So alright guys, I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about me, about my channel, about why I'm doing this whole thing. Throw a comment down below if you want to chat about anything, if you like the same kind of books I like, if you have, you know, a similar reading, writing background. I'd love to talk to you, love to chat with you. So yeah, hit me up down below. If you haven't got enough of me, you can follow me on all of the social medias. I have Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. I'm Kirsty the Worsty on all of them, except for Twitter. I'm just Kirsty the Worst. Alright guys, have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye!